I don't hear it. But we're live.
Oh.
And apparently everybody's watching. Dawson's all thrilled because he got first blood again. And you know what, brother? We proud of you. We proud of you. Hey, did you hear that Katie Hobbs is no longer the governor of Arizona?
For like 24 hours.
Still, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Katie Hobbs is no longer the governor of Arizona?
For like 24 hours.
Still, it's interesting. Katie Hobbs Good morning. Man, I went upstairs to...
What in the world?
Oh, I know what happened. And good... Aha.
Wow, that was...
Rumble was still playing the delayed audio. Okay, so what happened was YouTube started bugging me about my ad blocker when I was trying to watch some Tim Pool stuff last night. And so I went over to Rumble, and I have to... It happens to me, it usually happens on a Thursday night because I was watching the TPS report live, but Cameron and I actually, it was Cameron's birthday yesterday. I got him a bottle of scotch and we were having a drink and watching a movie that we made, which was, Cameron's kids in the woods, and it's pretty good. I mean, what did we do that, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was fun watching one of our first attempts at making a movie.
Yeah, attempt.
And talking about the things that we did not know then.
Right.
So, it's Firearms Friday, and I think I'm going to give the birthday boy this first one. Let's see what we got here. You ready to rock and roll?
I was born ready.
Hells yes. Yesterday.
Well, no, I was born ready on the day I was born.
Yeah. I might have been born at night, 10 p.m. But it wasn't last night. GCM says put the movie link on here. We'll get that out to you guys at another time.
Yes. We'll get it out shortly. It's fun. It's cheesy. And it's fun. Okay. CLAS.
Oh, this one's an update on one we covered before.
Right. The Clark County Coroner's Office has identified the home invasion suspect who was shot and killed Wednesday. He was identified as Trayvon Powell, 27. His cause of death was multiple gunshot wounds. It's like people who were killed in the car crash. And it's like, well, cause of death was blunt force trauma that, caused severe damage to the brain and heart. And like, yeah, they got run over by a semi. Anyhow, Las Vegas police say the homeowner's son shot 2 men, killing one of them after they allegedly attempted to break into their home. Allegedly. Right, okay. According to Lieutenant Jason Johansson, police were called to a home in the 3300 block of Iberia Street near West Desert Inn Road and South Rainbow Boulevard. What names? In South Rainbow Boulevard around 9 a.m. on Wednesday, September 20th, after a report of a shooting. The 70-year-old man who called 911 told police 2 people tried to break into his house through the back door, and his son, a 50-year-old man, had shot them. When officers arrived, both the homeowner and his son exited the house. They told police that they had been inside their home when the 2 men wearing masks, gloves, and dark clothing attempted to break into the home. The son grabbed his gun and shot at them as they tried to enter. The homeowner said his son said that one of the men appeared to be dead in the backyard. The other man had jumped over a wall in the backyard and left what appeared to be a gray sedan. Medical personnel pronounced the man in the backyard dead on the scene. Johansson said the man appeared to be in his 20s. Approximately 10 minutes later, police began receiving calls about a vehicle driving at reckless speeds. Ooh,
in a parking lot
area around.
I just got this vision of the guy driving away from the scene of the crime and into like a Walmart parking lot. And he's just doing donuts.
Yeah. Near Tropicana Avenue and Jones Boulevard. Shortly after that vehicle, a gray sedan was involved in an accident with two other vehicles in the area of Tropicana Avenue and Decatur Boulevard.
Tropicana, Rainbow Street. So
I know,
is
right?
this in Florida?
That's what I was thinking.
Did it not say earlier? Did we not have that? Clark County.
That could be.
No, it's in Vegas.
Vegas. There we go. Anyhow, okay, so it appeared to be self-defense.
You know, Vegas, not known for their fruit juice. Fruits, generally.
Well, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Like I said, fruits.
Vegas is not... Vegas doesn't really export much. So...
I just noticed a lot of people running around, jumping off block walls, being in places they shouldn't be. So, I mean,
this is...
Basically, we got an update on one we've covered before, and, yeah, don't go breaking into people's houses. And the alleged intruder. Okay, look.
The alleged intruder who was wearing
You're coming into a
clothes.
house you don't belong to in the middle of the night wearing gloves and a mask.
Yeah, trying to break in the back door. Like, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah. And even then, like, what was the other idiot doing? Like, I realize I'm just having a whole bunch of internal gallows humor. Like, dude, you got away. And then you got into a car crash. And depending on how Las Vegas's laws shake out, you might have just caught a felony murder charge.
Right.
Like...
I want to touch this real quick. It says in Nevada there is a stand your ground law, meaning you're allowed to use deadly force if you are not the original aggressor. You are legally entitled to be where you are, and you are not involved in criminal activity when there was deadly force used. I want to clarify something here. I hate stand your ground laws. Because what a stand your ground law is the government presupposing that you do not have the right to live, and the government has the authority to determine that you can have that right restored by legislation. Conversely, you look at a place like New Jersey, and they have the opposite of a stand your ground law. In a state like New Jersey, you have a duty to retreat, which means that if an armed criminal enters your home with these and states clearly, I'm here to murder you, under the law in a place like New Jersey, you have a duty to retreat to such an extent under the law that if you defend yourself in that situation and there was a window in the room that you could have jumped through rather than protect yourself from the criminal, that you're guilty of murder in that instance, right? The existence of any law which speaks to whether or not you are allowed to defend yourself from an aggressor with deadly force is an absolute subversion of your natural rights. Even such a law as a stand your ground law that theoretically legally affirms that right operates on the legal presupposition that your right to live and defend your life is not a natural right given to you by the Creator. Now, in principle, obviously, a stand your ground law is far superior to the duty to retreat law. But in both cases, you're talking about a system of law that presupposes the absence of your right to defend yourself from bodily harm, grievous injury, or death against an armed and threatening assailant. And that sticks in my craw. There should be no law referencing either of those. And Brian Dawson asks, "How about your property?" Absolutely. We've discussed that many times on this show. In my personal opinion, which I think is not unconsidered, given my background in philosophy and to some degree with law enforcement, hunting terrorist drug dealers in foreign countries. It is my considered opinion that all crimes are murder to some degree. And if a thing is defined by the law as being a crime and is somehow not murder to some degree, then that law is unjust. For example, if you steal from someone, theft, right? You are taking from that person property which was traded for by some mechanism of remuneration that at the end of the day is the result of that person trading away his time, his effort, his labor, which is to say, a portion of his finite life resource in exchange for the aforementioned commodity. Theft, rape, murder. They're the same thing by degrees.
I would categorize it slightly different than you. The biggest issue that I have with stand your ground laws and castle doctrine is the fact that they even need to exist anyway. They're like here in Georgia, we've got, castle doctrine laws on the books. A lot of southern states do. And the reason why they have them on the books is, in some cases, like here in Georgia, it's actually it's a prophylactic measure against zealous prosecutors that would try and charge a guy like you just to make a point, even in an obvious self-defense case. The fact that they're necessary at all is what bothers me. Now, you're not wrong. The government deciding in its benevolence to give you your rights back is, that's pretty shitty. But in this case, with a lot of places that have castle doctrine and stand your ground laws, they were passed in order to codify. They're basically saying, look, we're a 2A friendly state, and if some little old lady decides she's going to defend her apartment with a 38 she's had at the top of her closet for the last 50 years, you're not putting her in jail over something stupid because you hate guns in your local courtroom. I had what I was going to say right there. Jurisdiction, thanks. Man.
Municipality.
Thanks. I was almost there, and then I couldn't land the plane. That was actually... Everybody, you watched that happen live on air. Brain farted. Chris and I drank scotch yesterday. Like, it's... Not even that much.
It's like beans and onions for your skull.
Okay,
you're welcome.
That was gross. That was...
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, oh, I don't like you. Why are you doing that to me? All right, we're gonna try this one. Belmont Cragen shooting. Suspected home invader shot by homeowner dies, officials say. Ooh, come on. Let's hear it. Let's get it. Alleged home invader shot by a homeowner on the city's northwest side on Monday afternoon has died. Chicago police and the Cook County Medical Examiner Office said. Alexis Quiles, 39, of Chicago, died Tuesday afternoon. The medical examiner's office said. Police said the incident. So it's an over there. Police said the incident happened in the Belmont Cragen neighborhood's 2100 block of North Meade Avenue just after 12:45 p.m. on Monday. A 26-year-old man was inside his home when someone entered without permission, police said. The victim fired at the suspect, striking him twice in the chest. Hey, there you go. The language is correct. The victim fired at the suspect.
The alleged suspect? The alleged victim fired alleged shots at the alleged suspects.
Neighbors described hearing 4 to 5 gunshots before police came swarming the street. The suspect fled but was found nearby. Neighbors told ABC7 Chicago that they saw a man who looked to be injured being treated on a stretcher. The alleged invader was transported to Loyola Hospital in a serious condition. Neighbors said a family with children lives in that home, and police said no other injuries reported. A family with children. Shoo, buddy. Yeah, come on in my house uninvited. Around my kids? Buddy, I may not even care if you're armed.
It wouldn't matter.
It would not. It would not matter at all. But, I mean, this...
You know, I saw somebody ask...
This is a fuck around and find out story right here.
Oh, yeah.
Found out.
Yeah, FAFO award, transported to the hospital in serious condition. Yeah, obviously, if he died at the hospital.
4 to 5 rounds. Not bad.
Yeah, so I actually saw something on Twitter a few days ago. A question got passed around. How do you fix cities?
Okay.
Well, honestly, repeal all gun control laws and let the citizens arm themselves. And it might take a few months, but a lot of the problems in cities would fix themselves in a hurry.
Are you tracking on the mass looting that was going on in, was it Philadelphia this weekend? Or was it Chicago?
And the influencer Meatball caught
Meatball, the big fat woman that was screaming, everybody gets food, everybody needs food.
Maybe.
There was mass looting in... There was a trial.
Yeah, Philly. But anyhow, what's the point you're getting to?
Oh, so okay, it was Philly. Philadelphia break-ins, 50 arrested as havoc continues for second night. So it's smash and grab crimes. It's organized gangs of hoodlums, of thugs breaking into these stores. And I mean, like, they're robbing the Apple store. They're robbing Lululemon, stuff like that. But the cities, all of the liquor stores in the cities shut down the second night. They just closed their doors and locked up. Retail outlets all over the city just said, nope, we're just
negative.
We're not going to be here. Shut it down. You know what to solve this? What to solve these problems real quick, fast, in the fucking hurry? Koreans.
See, that's where I was going.
Rooftop Koreans. Yeah, exactly what Cameron's talking about. You know, an armed society is a polite society. Truer words may never have been spoken.
And look, the transition from here to there might be painful. In fact, I suspect it would be painful. You'll have a few mamas on TV crying, saying, he was really a good boy, I swear.
He was shot while rioting and looting.
He didn't do nothing that bad.
And I'll be quite frank about the if you watch the videos of the looting that's happening, all the people that are involved in the looting have one thing in common. It's obvious that they have the one thing in common based on what you can see in those videos and the activities they're involved. They won't be missed. That's the thing they have in common. These are not valuable people. They're criminals. They're low criminals. They're not even like economy moving criminal masterminds. They are no different than a natural disaster or a wildfire. And if they were extinguished by, let's say, for example, a bunch of Hongooks on the Chibu, then that problem would solve itself quickly, and there would be no tears that mattered.
Yeah, and we talked about this before, about why the left is so obsessed with closing the gun show loophole, and like, well, I can't believe that there's not a background check for firearms purchase, and what they mean is there's, what they're referencing is there's a culture that's pretty uniquely American, where there's almost a rite of passage in some families to give one another firearms, to give your children their first firearm, to, like, my first rifle was a 22 long rifle that my dad gave me when I was a teenager. That's just how things tend to work in that culture. And part of what it does is because responsible gun ownership has got a lot of safety and maturity that goes along with it. You actually help develop an individual that's concerned with taking care of themselves, solving their own problems, and ironically enough, choosing to avoid violence whenever possible, because a fist fight's just a fist fight, unless one of the guys in the fist fight happens to be carrying a pistol.
Yep.
And then it's only a matter of time before that sumbitch is not a fist fight anymore. Go ahead. But the point I'm making is, when you disarm a city, and frankly, when you use a set of laws that disproportionately target one minority group, and it's not surprising that Democrats are racist, and they shoved a bunch of black people into cities and then took away a bunch of their rights, and then said it's the system that's keeping you poor, when ironically, they're the ones in charge of the system helping keep the poor. But I'm almost there, I promise. Okay. One of the things that would help would be if they had their Second Amendment rights. They would become self-sufficient. They would become more responsible, more mature. They would take care of themselves, and ironically would learn the very same lesson that I just said. You're less likely to choose violence because you know everybody's armed.
And so it used to be like the origin of gun control was a fear by the authoritarian left that the freed slaves would be allowed to arm themselves. That has changed over time. There's still a lot of racism related to firearms control, but now, like back when the McMichaels case happened and the whole thing with St. Michael of fentanyl happened, and I've gone back and re-referenced this several times on the show. Back then, I made what I thought to be a hyperbolic point to make a specific point, that the objective of the left was to establish a system where the color of your skin absolutely determines your guilt or innocence in the commission of a crime. And that the objective was to make it explicitly permissible for non-whites to commit crimes. I thought back then that I was overstating the problem to make a particular hyperbolic point. Turns out, I drastically underestimated the extent of the corruption of the left. It amazes me. If there's anything that continues to amaze me, it is the greater extent to which the left can sink, and the greater extent of the corruption and depravity of them. I keep trying to overstate. Like I keep trying to do what Alex Jones is accused of by saying something that's just beyond the pale of crazy overstatement of the psychotic corruption and depravity of the left, and they continue to prove me a little milquetoast on those assertions. You know, when Obergefell dropped and the next day we started hearing about the bathrooms, we talked about how the next thing you're going to hear is about government entities threatening to take children away from parents who refuse to mutilate their children's genitalia. And oh no, that's an actual thing that's happening now.
For some reason, Gavin Newsom vetoed that bill. It's not because he's planning on running for president and doesn't want that hanging around his head
right.
at all. And just real quick. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So gun control is a big bugaboo for the left because they want what's happening in the cities that have the strictest gun control laws, where 201 today, rioting, homelessness, vagrancy, violence, theft, etc., are ever-growing and serious problems. The Democrat objective for the gun control agenda, the reason they have that agenda is because they want your cities to be disarmed specifically so that their ravening hordes can do such damage to the economic infrastructure of your city and the quality of life there, right? It's like the implementation of Obamacare. The point to socialism is communism. The objective is to destroy what exists so that the alternative is the lesser of two evils. And the two evils are communism or death. And then the other thing I wanted to touch real quick, Brian Dawson thought he was going to be real clever and correct my racism. He says Koreans aren't gooks, they're slopes, get it right. And just for clarification, Brian, what I said was Jibung Hanguk, which is literally the Korean word for roof Korean. The word gook actually means country. The word gook is actually Korean for country, and when it was used as it wasn't used as a racial epithet originally. What it was is when the Korean Marines were working with the Americans in Vietnam, the Koreans would refer to the Vietnamese as the gooks, and what they meant when they said gook in that context is like when an American soldier refers to an Afghani or an Iraqi or whatever, when we're over in their country, the word means local national. That's where the word gook comes from. It's the Korean word for local national.
That's what I was laughing at, by the way. I happened to have seen his comment and was just like, "Oh, that just happened in our chat." And I just wanted to say real quick, over on Rumble, Pit Danny, Desert Rat, Sergeant Major, and Jarammer, we see you. Good morning. Thanks for joining us over there. For some reason, we can't take the Rumble chat and mix it in with the everything else chat, and it's just kind of frustrating. And instead of going into another story, Brian Dawson also said, you would feel better if gangs stabber you instead of shoot you. Typo notwithstanding. I
would feel better if the gangs were armed with only knives and not guns.
Hold on. Well, yes, but that sort of misses the point. It's not that I would rather be stabbed or shot or beat up or got run over by a fucking car or whatever. What I have a problem with is the fact that I am not allowed to defend myself with a 1-for-1 measure of force.
Right.
That's what I have a problem with. The criminal, by default, has already decided to be a criminal. So what do they care what's illegal or not? It's only the people that are choosing to follow the law that are going to have the restrictions placed against them. So if guns didn't exist in the world and all there were crossbows, well, it's the same thing. I want a crossbow. Well, if there's no such thing as a crossbow, all there are swords. Okay, fine. I want a sword. And as Unverified Bear pointed out, being a Londoner, there are literally people now that say, look out, he's got a knife. Look out, he's got a knife.
London ran a knife buyback program, or a knife confiscation program, tried to outlaw the ownership of knives. And there was a whole controversy about the idea of chefs, for example, having to have specific licensure to not to carry, to own knives.
You know, and that's the thing. Like, what? And I don't even mean this as an
rob a bank with a pitchfork.
Look,
ban farms.
Look, I'm just saying. What I'm trying to get to is, I don't even mean this as a knock on London or England or whatever. I'm just saying, use this as an example, as a cautionary tale, and maybe even feel a little sorry for them. What happened? Look, I'm gonna get through this, damn it.
Good luck.
What happened to you culturally where look out, he's got a knife is actually a thing, and now screw gun control. We're long, but now we're talking about knife control? Like seriously, it was right at 100 years ago. Never give up, never give in, never surrender, right. Never. And now, look out, he's got a knife. That's sad. Like, yes. that is depressing.
Well, and I assume that you're referencing the video that we saw. It's been a couple of months now, of the guy that just went into the park and started stabbing kids. And somebody stood there and filmed the thing.
The migrant.
Yeah, the migrant. Somebody stood there and filmed the activity, which, screw you, homeboy, go do something. But I'm glad we got the video, because we got to see, oh my God, there were, 3 men right there that just kind of watched it happen. One of them made a move and was not immediately successful and ran away. I'm like, Jesus Christ, guys.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about, where the one guy actually tried to knock the knife out of the dude's hand with his backpack, and the other men... That would have been the moment. Like, okay, he's distracted.
Yeah.
All the men just rush him.
Yeah. That was... And I mean, in a just world, that's the moment where you get a Mozambique. And then what was Unverified Bear said a school shooting was responsible for our gun grab. I have to correct you there, Bear. A school shooting was the excuse for your gun grab. It was not responsible for it.
I think
your gun grabbers were waiting for an excuse. They are a solution looking for a problem.
Yeah, think of the children. That's one thing that's great about being a parent. Like, I remember that I had somebody with no children drop that on me. I said, well, think of the children, Cameron. Oh, I am thinking of the children. Mine. And I want them to grow up in a world that...
Yeah, I'm thinking of the children who, when some psychopath migrant with a knife attempts to stab them on the playground, he will suck my .357.
Unverified Bear told you not to be pedantic. Good luck, Bear.
You're kidding, Bear. That's why you watch this show. It's what you're here for.
And then it's about time to go, but American Gorilla says at some point I'm going to assume there's a you that's supposed to be there. At some point, you will learn to no longer comply to these rules. I no longer need the Second Amendment. I'm going to have it use whether it's in our Bill of Rights or not. In spirit, I'm with you.
Yep.
Absolutely. But
I'll even throw it.
But because we're on the internet, I don't know that I want to say anything else about, especially right here at the end of the show where I could say something stupid and then we go off the air and I don't know. Just gonna leave it right there because
We want to be bad. We want to be very careful about the things that we say on this show because, of course, the enemy is always watching. They never stop watching. They're constantly, we're under surveillance all the time. There's always somebody. Okay, so all joking aside, I need to update that little gag because we do not live in that densely populated area. But whatever. Yeah, it's the end of the show. It is Friday. We're going into the weekend. I want you guys to be safe out there. Be careful out there. We love you. We want you to be safe and make it through the weekend. I want to take a moment because it's almost October to remind everybody, and I'll mention this several times over the next couple of weeks. I and mine will be at the Highland Games in Stone Mountain, third weekend of October. And come by and have a scotch with us. Come by and say hello. Love to see you there. It's a hell of a good time. It is always packed. You need to buy tickets soon and park early. But I'd love to see you guys stop by and say hello. And as for the rest of it, don't drive drunk, don't fry bacon naked. Be safe out there. We love you, and we will see you on.
I just wanted to say, American Gorilla, come back. We're not actually. We're not chicken shit. It's just the end of the show. Come back. We'll have some fun.
I have a Gorilla TNG channel. I'm no longer quiet, but I'll refrain on yours.
Oh, and Georgia versus Auburn this year. This weekend. This weekend, yes.
Okay, cool. Monday.